Hey everyone, so today I decided to try my luck at a few things, and when I say that, it's an odd thing that I mean when I say that. Basically, I read an article quite some time ago. I think it was in an issue of Mental Floss. I forget where though, so don't quote me on that. But it was basically on the science of luck. Now, the article didn't really go so far as to say that luck exists, and I don't believe luck exists per se, but I do believe that statistical outliers happen, and that it's possible for some people to be statistical outliers more often, or to happen into statistical outliers more frequently. And some would say, well, of course, that's just being lucky. And, well, maybe I'm splitting hairs, but it is, but basically, causality being what it is, whether you see luck as being, basically, I would only say that luck is a thing if you believe that luck is the result rather than the process that brings the result about, because I certainly wouldn't believe in the latter, but definitely the former. But anyway, it was on the science of luck, and the science of luck is a fascinating thing, because one of the things that's thrown out there is that you can't really be lucky if you don't try to engage the world. Now, this goes into the whole, you can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. Well, the thing about winning the lottery is that it is so astronomically unlikely that you'll actually win the lottery that you shouldn't just go out and buy lottery tickets thinking, well, maybe I will, because odds are you won't. I mean, if you prove me wrong, fantastic, and can I borrow some money, but in general, no, that's not how it works. But what they found when researching the behaviors of people who tends to be lucky more than other people, or people who tends to see themselves as lucky versus people who see themselves as unlucky, is that the lucky people are the ones who went out and did things. They're the ones who, varied their schedule. So if you stay at home all the time, you're, not much happens at home. I mean, home is a great place. Home is a comfortable place. Well, I mean, for some people, home isn't a great place. But in general, for me, I like being home. Home is where I get my writing done. Home is where I can play most of my video games. I can watch TV at home. I can talk to friends from home. It's not as nice as going out and seeing my friends in real life, but it is there. It is there. So, one thing that I decided to do today, I don't always have access to a car, but I had access to a car today, because I dropped someone else off at work and used their car. But I decided that there was a restaurant that I always saw in town that I never tried. It was a nice little building with tinted windows and a kind of blue, not quite Art Deco font that gave the restaurant's name. And I said, it's really nice. It's a really nice looking place. And if you just go to chain restaurants all the time, then you're not always going to find these places. So this place was called, I won't get into what the place was called, but what is up with my hair today? My hair is weird today. I guess that's a little better. Anyway, this place was, I always saw it when I was coming into town at the end of the day, because that's generally when I have access to cars, because I borrow people's cars at the end of the day, not at the beginning. It was about lunchtime, and I was thinking, I could probably go for, and I started thinking about the normal places that I go when I go out to eat. But I said, I'm gonna try that place today. I went, and it was not what I expected. It was kind of a, imagine a place that's kind of like a Buffalo Wild Wings or an Applebee's, but a little higher scale than that. So it was quiet, although they might have been more of a dinner place. It was quiet, but they had, some nice rock music playing. Nothing too crazy, but the kind of rock music that helps make people feel alive without much investment. The stuff that's automatically enjoyable. And I don't say that as a bad thing. I realized it sounded like a bad thing. But I went there. The menu was a little more than I wanted to pay, but I said, it's only a little more by a couple dollars. So I went in. They had nice tables. It was dimly lit without being dark, and they had like little candle things set up. Really, I think the place is probably catering to people who see themselves in the kind of, oh man, I can't believe I'm an adult now category. It really feels like that, and the food was sort of like that too. It was like just food appreciable by, people in my demographic, that post-college age demographic. And so I was trying to figure out what I wanted based on how much I could afford and what was there. So I just, I settled on a Cajun burger of some sort, but then they told me the specials, and I said, okay, I'll try the tostadas. They're special today. I'll see what these tostadas are like, and they needed more napkins. If I'm going to criticize them in one place, this place needed more napkins. But in general, it was really nice. And then they brought me mints, and it was... they actually brought me after dinner mints. I really wasn't expecting that. And I was one of only 2 tables. There was one other table in there. And part of me was thinking, I really wish that there were more people here. Like, this is... I've never heard of this restaurant before, so I'm pretty sure it's not a chain restaurant. So that means it's a private investor's thing. And I want private businesses like that to succeed. I don't want people to always just default in our society to the chain restaurants. But even though the chain restaurants, they're good, there's nothing wrong with them inherently. It's just, this place was doing its own thing, and it was doing it well. Maybe it just needs better advertising or something, I don't know. But anyway, that... the reason I went there was because of that article on the science of luck. I said, I could just do the same thing today. Maybe I'll shake up my routine a little. And, then I left, and when I left, I was a little thirsty, and I realized that I was leaving there just at that post-lunch time period when certain places happen to have their drinks cheaper. So if I'd wanted, I could have gotten a $1 beverage, which is used to be common, but nowadays it's getting harder and harder to find. I didn't actually get one of those $1 beverages, but it was very tempting. And, that is the kind of coincidence that we ascribe. Is that the right word? That we ascribe, maybe? We look at that kind of coincidence and say, hey, that's lucky. So I wouldn't really say it's lucky. Unless, of course, lucky is just an adjectival after the fact result rather than a process it leads up to. But that might be a good way to define luck for me. Like, if something is a statistical outlier, maybe. Yeah. I actually have a character in a game right now who's incredibly lucky. A game run by a friend of mine on Sunday evenings and afternoons. I don't know that I'll be able to play in this game for much longer due to work schedules. It's a D&D game. Not my Cosmic Patrol game. That's on Thursday nights. But this character is entirely luck-based, and in that case, that character is lucky because of things. There are things before the fact that lead to luck. But I will say that manipulating luck before the fact kind of takes some of the specialness out of it. There's none of that coincidental serendipity feeling to it. And I think that, in a way, we all sort of know that luck is not really... It's not really a thing that is controllable or attainable. But we do know that the people who think of themselves as more lucky shake up their routine. Now, I shook up my routine in a couple other ways later that day. Sometimes it worked off, sometimes it didn't. I tried a game on my phone, typically, that I would never try, and, it turned out not to like it. But it was, I tried it, and I guess I wasn't lucky then. I mean, whether or not you just... whichever definition of luck you're using, that, I didn't luck out that time. But another thing that I did, I tried a second game today, which was actually the Neverwinter MMO. I didn't want to try the Neverwinter MMO because I am so much more a fan of Eberron and Greyhawk than I am the Forgotten Realms. But I learned three things. I learned, there's been the maze engine advertising that's been all over the place, parts of the internet that I trawl around. And I like mazes, I like minotaurs, I like Baphomet, so the maze engine advertising, that was keyed at me. I was the proper demographic. Then another thing, on my new phone, I'd show you the new phone, but I'm using it to record me right now, so I can't. I got a notice saying that, hey, you've got a phone, so now if you just use this phone to log into this Neverwinter game, you can get some in-game rewards. I said, well, okay, maybe. But then the other thing that was pointed out to me, the Back Alley Brawler from City of Heroes, not the character Back Alley Brawler, but the developer who went by that character's name, Back Alley Brawler, he did a Reddit AMA and answered a few questions. I learned that after City of Heroes closed down, Back Alley Brawler went over to Cryptic and worked on Neverwinter. So I said, you know what? I'm going to hop into this because the Back Alley Brawler is a name I trust in video games. And I downloaded it onto my wimpy little laptop. I really need a desktop for my games. I should stop just relying on a laptop all the time. But I downloaded it, and it worked out. It was a really nice game. So, I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to keep playing it, because play too many games, I won't have time to write. So I won't have time to go out and live. And living is always better than writing. But, but living and writing is always better than gaming, I should say. Except for those times when writing is painful, But anyway, I felt kind of lucky then, because I played that game, and it felt more engaging. And maybe I was looking for things to enjoy, but I saw a few things that reminded me of City of Heroes in a way that a lot of other MMOs just don't. So, good news, bad news. So, I tried my luck today. I don't know that my results were really statistically outliers, but I enjoyed it. So, to you, I would say, don't forget to try pushing your luck a little. Play it safe. Please don't just say, I'm going to go to a casino and gamble a lot. Just don't do that. But see about what happens if you break up your routine. And, if you get some really good results, tell me about it in the comments below. And I don't really have much else to say, so I'll take care. Bye, everyone.